honestly, I think that the most ideal situation is to play Cunning Maul, so you can get the benefit of breaking in, surprise strike. You still get the benefit of playing Boba Fett, the unit, to take out units that are tapped down. Even playing Cunning at a cost of 6 versus 4. I mean, that's probably what I'll start playtesting just to see how it feels. But Overwhelm, I mean, it's good. It definitely can be advantageous in the limited environment. There's not a lot of opportunity for that, so I could see how that could not be a great time to play it. More constructed in Twin Suns than anything. His other side is phenomenal. He's a 6/6. He deploys at 6. Has Overwhelm, and each other friendly unit gains Overwhelm. So no matter what you have, it's going to get Overwhelm. So you can just literally overrun everything. So for me, to have Maul, I want to say he's at least in A tier. At no time, unless you're being hard locked out of the game, should you really not be able to use his ability. At least once a turn, unless you have no units. So, it cheats in action, gives you a benefit. Pretty good upside there. Now, the next one, we're looking at Nalase. Nalase is pretty unique. And this set was pretty good for that, giving us unique leaders where we can have fun with, not just strictly trying to win. I think I'm going to play a lot of her, but mainly in Twin Suns, but I may dabble in making an LSA deck. Just because I want to see different stuff. I want to see stuff that's not supposed to be played in the deck for villainy archetype. So she's pretty advantageous. I mean, you don't even have to deploy her, but she does have a huge upside. Ignore the aspect penalty on clone units you play. So you get that no matter what. So that's huge. You don't have to tap her. You don't have to exhaust her. You don't have to do any of that. You get to take advantage of her the entire time she's in the leader zone. So even when she comes back exhausted from being defeated, you still get to use it. One of the only leaders, if not the only leader, that you get to have that. So on her backside, she deploys at 4. So I don't think you're the third turn is really where you want to play her. Oh man, haven't had enough coffee today. But she does still ignore the clone aspect. Each friendly clone unit gains when defeated heal 2 damage from your base. So even if you're just running your units into trading and saving the later turns for bigger units, buying you some time, which you're in blue villain, you can lock out the rest. But if you need to heal a little bit, just run everything into it. So, play some cards that give you some clone units, clone troopers. Next turn, just run them out. Run your damage from your base down. I think she'll be a lot of fun. I don't think she's going to be like world breaking, but you keep her alive, gets at least 1 or 2 uses out of her. 2 turns. We could have a deep impact on your game state. So I'm going to put her in A tier just because she has a solid ability that you don't have to use. Depending on, most people are probably looking for the Wrecker and Tech combo. You still get, it's not necessarily a combo, but I mean the duo of having those two. Those are the most played ones. Finally being able to play that with Crosshair, just for me, I'm a big fan of the Bad Batch. I actually have a Bad Batch case on my phone right now, but it'll be fun. It'll be a lot of fun. Can't forget Omega, but her ability not so much in this deck, but great card, I think. Now the next one, Mace Windu. Mace, I'm kind of torn because I feel like he's kind of like the heroic Vader, even though his ability is slightly different. It's very, very familiar. So, I mean, he deploys on 7. Still kind of late game for that. But you have to pay and tap him to deal 1 damage to a damaged enemy unit. So they have to be damaged. So there's 3 things going against you. Then if they have 5 or more damage, you can deal 1 more damage to it. Yeah, it allows you to kind of pick off bigger units. depending on what's going on. But that's on one action. On deploy, he's a 5/8. Like I said, on 7, but he deploys, deal 2 damage to each damaged enemy unit. So, I mean, realistically, before he comes out, it would look like something like a bombing run, or just do anything that's going to do incremental damage to the enemy, and then run him out, and you do a bombing run, and that's 5 damage, and there's not a lot out there that's not going to be destroyed by that. So it'll pick off all the smaller units, all the units that that aren't top end pieces that are going to have a good board state presence for them, especially if they're playing anything that's pumping out tokens. All of it's gone because they've already been damaged and or killed by the bombing run. So I mean, he has some uses. His ability is okay. He's statted okay. He does have a lightsaber that, if he's attached to Mace, he gets to draw 2 cards, I believe. Let's look. Yeah, Mace Windu. When played, if attached unit is Mace, you draw 2 cards. When played, so you get 1 use out of it. But that's going to pump him up to where he's in a pretty healthy range, and he's going to be a 7/10. I mean, that's huge. That's a big boy, but not gonna, if you don't get to capitalize on it fast, it's not gonna help you win any games. B, he's a solid B tier for me. I'm gonna move him up ahead of Jango. I think that's a fair spot for him. It is nice to see something in return to something similar to Vader, although it's not exactly the same. Obviously, for me, Dooku's I'm going to be kind of torn on it. He's going to have the ability to exploit. Exploit's going to be huge. It adds exploit to units that don't normally have it. So being able to pump out a couple battle droids, depending on the deck that you're building, colors you're playing in, and then trading up, you're using resources now to pay for something later, and to me that's pretty good. But the problem you'll start running into is if you're exploiting everything, it's going to make it harder to keep things on the board and have a real board presence. Now, I don't think he's meant to have something exploited every single turn. I think it's more of a, hey, I can do this now. Maybe I'll go ahead and take advantage of it. So I still feel that the leader that wants to make more use of that is going to be either Watt or Newt Gunray, if you're just playing units that can be exploited. But I mean, he definitely has that advantage. Now with limited and pre-release, we did see a lot of people pick him up instantly because, especially in that, you have cheap units. You can play them early if they go unchecked. You can play into something big like multi-troop transport. You can play into the Sentinel tank. You can also play into the battle droids, and it's anything that gives you a higher standing on the board to do more damage. So, ideally you're gonna damage the base or unit. You're going to, if it still survives, which is key here, you want to exploit it so it has the ability to get some damage in, get the use out of that unit, and then trade up into something better. I want to say it's kind of S tier, but I'm really kind of thinking here that he's going to be S/A tier. I think I'm gonna stick with the S tier for the simple fact that he gives you the ability to play cards like Green Maul and Darth Vader a turn early, without having to damage them or sacrifice the benefit of them. So I think it's huge. I think the units getting exploit that don't have it is going to have an impact on the meta, especially for things going against maybe Sabine decks, it might give them a little bit of run for their money, because most often, you're not able to play a Vader on turn 4. So, it's one after you have Sabine. She's not kitted up with a Darksaber. You just run through her. Also gives you a chance to go against, if you're not playing a card on curve against like Kylo. I love to hold Forlom or other ambush units and just run them right into Kylo before he gets kitted up with a lightsaber. So lots of opportunities to do some damage. I think he has the benefit of also being in green, ramping, and being able to play things out, and having the ability to do so gives him the chance to exploit more units, getting more units out to exploit them. But we'll see. I'm gonna plant my flag on that one. So it brings us to Captain Rex. So Captain Rex was one that I've had one of the harder times deciding on where I think he should be placed. He was pretty good for a lot of people in pre-release. Getting that +0, +1 on the backside was helping out. Getting that free clone unit from deploying. Not so much the front side, because a lot of times you want to play what you do have, but it gives you a play if you don't have anything. So a lot of times, especially in limited, you'll find a couple cards that are in 1, 2, and 3, and you're able to put them in there, but you don't always have something on curve. So being able to fill that gap with the unit ability, it feeds into his game plan. So, it's unlike some of the other leaders where you have to pay to do something. He's actually, you're paying that and you're advancing your board state, your board presence with something. So it definitely is beneficial. And that unit compare with the new card that buffs, pumps, and attacks with a Republic unit. I forget what it is. It's an Alliance something. I just played with it yesterday, but I can't remember the name of it for the life of me. Well, as soon as I'm done here, I'll be like, oh yeah, that's what it was, and then I can't go back. But I think that he's okay. More of a limited leader, draft, or pre-release. I don't think he's going to see a ton of play in Premiere. I think he may see some play in Twin Suns, depending. I've dabbled a little bit in Twin Suns. I haven't really stuck my feet all the way in the water, but I will here soon. So I'm going to put him down here with Obi-Wan. I think he could be fun. He definitely has a lot of flavor with the set. I just don't think he's going to be as impactful as some people had hoped. Now, we do have Ahsoka. So, Ahsoka, I do like Ahsoka. She is one of the leaders that, obviously, she was in the pre-built decks, and she has some synergy with a lot of things. She has the front leader portion of coordinate, and then she also has the backside coordinate. Now, really, it's a plus and a minus here. She deploys a 5, so it's relatively quick. She's not. I think that maybe she could be. She could be filling in for Sabine. I might actually like her a little better than Sabine. Now, most people aren't going to agree with me, but I like the fact that with Sabine, a lot of times you do have units. So her coordinate abilities are going to trigger more often here. So she'll get the coordinate for, the attack with the unit, gets +1/+0 for this attack. Getting the +1 on the backside, she gets the +2/+0. So that makes her a 5/6, makes her pretty tempting here. She does have her own lightsaber. So the benefit is that she could be a decent replacement for Sabine if you don't like her. She is in Red Hero, so if you swap the two, they would probably play pretty similarly. The only added benefit to Sabine is that she gets to have the Darksaber equipped for her and give that buff out. So I think if she was a four turn drop, you could deploy her. It might be a little more advantageous, but you know, the coordinate ability is really what kills her for me. Having conditionalized card abilities makes it tough. But I think she'll be fun. I think she'll be interesting. I don't think that she's going to be breaking the meta or redefining it. I might actually play her more than Sabine because I have a love-hate with Sabine. And I'd rather play someone else that I can play the same shell, essentially, and run it a little bit differently. I'll feel better about it. But I'm going to have to place her in a C tier. Maybe I'll change my mind. Maybe eventually she'll be B tier for me. But, you know what? Let's put her in B. Yeah, I just don't feel that she is close to being as not fun as like Padme or Pre-Vizsla. I can see a lot more people playing her over Captain Rex, but it really depends. The next one is going to be Asajj. So Asajj she's a very unique, very aggressive leader. She deploys on 4. So she's one of those ones that she's going to be on par with Sabine. She's going to try and keep up with Kylo. I don't think she's going to be able to keep up with Kylo as much. But her abilities are pretty cool. The front side of her leader card is just okay, but the back side is what I think is interesting. But you tap, you attack with a unit, so cheating actions instantly. Something that I'm drawn to. If you played an event this phase, get a +1/+0. So she is perfectly aligned with getting things like surprise strike, breaking in, shoot first, anything that gives the ability to cheat actions as well. So buff and then attack, and it allows her to help by giving a +1/+0 just for playing an event. So playing Frozen and Carbonite, or No Good to Me Dead, or Cunning. If you this, I think, would be a fun deck to play in double yellow. Maybe get my fix there instead of playing double yellow Boba. But she's easy to take out. She's low statted. Unless you put a fallen lightsaber on her, she's literally just gonna get a 4-lom to the face. Anything that K2SO. Smashing, she won't even kill K2SO. So I mean, you're just going to take the loss of your leader on that. But at least with Sabine, she was at 5, so she couldn't get the razzle dazzle from some of these other units. But I think some people will like to play her, but I just don't think that she's statted well enough. I think she deploys too early. Maybe if she was like a 3/5 and deployed on 5, might be a little bit better. I know they wanted her to be a little more aggressive, but I just don't feel that she can get the job done. So I'm 100% that I feel that she's in C tier. And it's simply because she's statted poorly and has a good ability to cheat actions for a +1/+0 if you play events. So that it's tough because I want to like her. Hotshot, another Hotshot Blaster, another one that she would even benefit her, but still 4 health. Now Anakin, I was kind of lukewarm on him in the beginning. I was like, man, this card, I'm not a fan of this. It doesn't look good. It's tough to evaluate some of these leaders until you start looking at what they really do, how to utilize them, what the game plan is. I've been playing a deck on Force Table, and it's a brew of a couple different thought processes. And really what I've settled for, I'll probably do a deck tech in the next week or so. I'm still trying to fine tune what I want to do. Is an Anakin Blue. So, the thing about that is really you want to damage yourself or take some damage Obviously, if you're playing Sabine, not going to be a problem. You're going to be getting slapped around a little bit in the beginning. But the nice part about Anakin Blue is that he can help offset that. You can set the tempo for you to have the damage on your base when you want it. So in those particular decks, you're going to play low-costed units. You want to play some force units. You want a couple cards like Village Protectors and an Obi-Wan. And you're still going to play K2SO, Luke, Poe Dameron. But you really want to pick up some restore. So you have cards like Wheel. You also have Yoda in here. You also have Kane and Jarrus. And then you have Restore Dark. And this one, I mean, to me, that really, really helps offset some of that. And then pairing him or even the Guardian of the Wills with a Jedi lightsaber, giving them a -2/-2, and just cleaning up all the small units, and having the ability to play like a force throw. I have the high ground, open fire, the force is with me. The force is with me is pretty decent in this deck, because you could even play that on Guardian of the Wills. Give 2 experience tokens to it, and if it's a force unit, give it a shield. I mean, that's you give a fallen or a Jedi lightsaber to the Guardian of the Wills, it's going to be a 5/5, and then you play this on it. It's a 7/7, and it has a shield. I mean, that's terrifying for that. And to me, it just makes a lot of sense to go that route. Heal yourself with the other cards. Put yourself in a position with some of these cheap played cards, and then the upgrade. Obviously, everything dies to removal. I get that, but setting it up to where you're monitoring the damage that you're taking and helping offset that until you can get to that Anakin, and then equip him with a fallen or a Jedi lightsaber. Man, I'm so used to talking about fallen lightsaber instead of Jedi lightsaber, but setting him up for that, plus whatever you're at damage wise. I mean, I've said it a bunch of times, and the guys that I play with and girls, I'll continue to say it. He's going to be the come from behind king. You're going to feel like you're about to lose, and then something's going to happen. It's going to be your deploy turn, and then it's just everything's going to come together, and he's going to get the ability to do big damage numbers. If you're at 20, and that's +1 for every 5, he's an 8/7, and then if you equip him with a lightsaber, and I haven't even play tested it, but that Jedi lightsaber puts him at 11. And then if you do something like Bravado on that turn, and you stand him back up, and you're swinging for 22 on one turn, it's such a good feeling. Yeah, it's a Merry Christmas magical Fantasyland thing, but all it takes is your leader to be down a little bit, and 1 or 2 cards, even if all you have is Bravado and you're at 20, that's 8. They're taking 16 damage in 1 turn. That's huge. I mean, to me, absolutely huge. So I'm gonna place him at the top of S tier. I think that's a great place for him. You can really kind of take some of these shells that are out there now and adapt them, and have an instant go-to. I like him way more than I like Sabine. I've played Sabine a good amount, not as much as Boba Yellow, but I did play some Blue Han for a while, and Han won when Sat 1 was out. But it feels good. It feels like you're always having to think about the most optimal play, and it feels good. It absolutely feels good doing it. So S tier for me. I'm going to do a deck tech on him because I'm really that passionate about him, and I feel that he's going to be one of the top leaders that are going to come out of the set. So that leaves me with 2 here. Okay, so General Grievous. I think Grievous has a lot of fun stuff that he can do. He has some shenanigans you can do with assigning Sentinel to droids, and I think that can be very, very helpful. So depending on what you have, you could really, even if you play a card and it is only like a 2/2 or a 1/1, you get the tokens, and then tapping him down and exhausting him, and giving it to a droid token unit. I think it's just funny. Now, in a new meta where we're gonna have decks like Maul floating around, it could be super punishing. So obviously you want to make sure that you're planning your turns, you're taking out smaller units, and you're applying that to the correct ones, and making the best use of his ability. I don't think he's going to be world ending. I think he's very flavorful. I think he's got a lot of fun things that he can do. With his backside, it's very similar. You attack with a droid unit. When on his attack, you can give a droid unit +1, +0, and Sentinel for the face. So it could allow you to trade some units potentially, depending on what you have, but it puts you in a good position to block some of that. You know, you're still going to have your occasional overwhelm cards running around there, but Maul is really going to be the problem he's going to have. The other thing, too, is with him deploying on 6, he's a 4/8, but they're going to want to take him out because they don't want to have to deal with Sentinels. They don't want to have to worry about that stuff. But equip him with his bike, his wheel bike, and, you know, you've got something here that is going to be kind of terrifying. So he gets +3/+3 from his wheel bike, and it gives him overwhelm. So, I mean, for that, that turns him into a 7/11. And not including if you have, like, once again, breaking in, surprise strike. The really cool part about breaking in, even though it's a +2/+0, he does give him Saboteur. And actually, let me make sure I'm remembering this card correctly. Let's see, where are we at? Breaking in. Where are we at? I know it's here. Come on, where are we at? I just saw it. I lost it. Yeah, breaking in. Yeah, it does get Saboteur. It's a 2 for +2/+0. So, I like it. I think we'll see more of those than First Strike. Surprise Strike. But, people, in Boba Yellow, I'm playing both. I'm going to get around those Sentinels. For me, it allows me an opportunity to be a little more aggressive, which I think that sometimes Boba Yellow should do. But most people won't agree with that. So I'm going to put him in... I want to put him in A tier, the bottom of A tier. Let's see. Now let's say... I want to say that I feel like this is probably... That's probably better right there. So, it's a toss-up between these two, but really, I think that there's a lot of ways to make him useful. There's a lot of beneficial droid units that that'll make this worthwhile. Now, the last one is Palpatine. So Palpatine's one of those. He's very unique. You never deploy him. You continue to use his ability. And, you just got to pay attention and manage that ability. We did have 2 people playing Palpatine at pre-release last night. And one of them said, man, I haven't won a game yet, but these games are so much fun just using his ability. You feel like you're doing something all the time. And, the nice thing, too, is that let's say that you're playing a control deck. Palpatine gives you a way to try and still stay in the game. He starts face up as a hero. Action, you tap him if a friendly heroic unit was defeated this phase. Draw a card and heal 2 damage from your base, then flip the leader. And then his villainous side is Darth Sidious. And then you tap. If you played a villainous card this phase, create a clone trooper token, deal 2 damage to each enemy base, then flip this leader. I think he's going to be absolutely huge in Twin Suns. I think he seems okay in Limited. I think that he's appealing to people because you get both sides. You can kind of dabble in each unit. In Limited, the card pull and the selection could be a little harder. But I think people are going to want to play him. He's definitely a unique ability. If you can line up your curve for both sides where you have 2 or 3 of each, and really hope that, and by 2 or 3 of each, I mean two cards per side for 1 through 3, I think you'll be in pretty good shape. So, finding something that's going to be beneficial is going to be easy because it's literally open to anything. But timing it and then having the right cards to be able to do those things, crafting your turn ahead of time is going to be huge. It's going to be needed. It's going to be necessary, and you're really going to have to figure out a game plan here because really it's not like you're playing, Anakin or Sabine or Boba, or, you have a clear defined game plan. You don't have a leader to deploy, so you can't count on that damage or to trade. So you really have to be able to play around the rest of your plan. And even if one thing is thrown off, you keep going. You keep going with what you have. But what'll be nice is looking back on these videos and seeing where everybody kind of thinks that they stand with these. I think I'm going to rate them together because obviously you got to play them together. I want to say he's going to be like an A tier, just for the fact that he's going to be in both. Realistically, I think he may fall into the B tier, but having that benefit is pretty huge. But I mean that's it here. This is how I feel. I don't think I would make any other changes. Unfortunate that another Mandalorian has slipped down into the clutches of despair in the D tier, but somebody's got to live in the basement. It can't be Maul, it can't be Yoda, any of these. But I feel much better about this set leader wise than I have some of the leaders last set. I felt bad for Lando and Hondo and some of the leaders that really relied on some of the more specific cards that you needed to work. But I would gladly pick these 2 over the other ones just because he's a body. Padme is forgettable, but yeah, that's it. I think in a couple weeks I'm going to do an overall tiering. Now that we're going to have a shakeup in the meta, I think it's going to be pretty significant. But yeah, I mean, tell me what you guys think. Criticize my list. I don't care. I'm just going off my own ramblings and how I base everything. And tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm right. Tell me you hate me. That's okay. At the end of the day, we're all just trying to play this game and have some fun. And that's it. I mean, it's just it makes us happy, and that's what we're here for. So I want to thank Andy and Johnny, 2 of my buddies that I've been playing a lot of games with recently, and they gave me some input for what their thoughts were and what they liked and didn't like about some of these leaders, and I kind of factored that in there. And then everybody else, Maxim, Blair, Brad, everybody else that I've played with recently. I enjoy playing with you guys, and hope you guys enjoy playing. So until we meet again, mulligan responsibly. Have a good night.